Hello and welcome, my beautiful, vibrant souls, to this week's Astrocast reading. This is going to be taking a look at your week ahead. So this is going to cover the week of May 16th, 2022 through May 22nd, I believe, 2022. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. Welcome back to all my old friends. Hello and welcome to all my newcomers, new friends out there. I'm just going to briefly give a rundown of what astrocasting is for those of you who might be unfamiliar, for the uninitiated among us, darling. So astrocasting, as you can see, we have this lovely circular board, and it's divided up into 12 segments. Now these represent the 12 houses of the Zodiac, and they're areas of natural rulership. I do want to make a little side note that this is going to unfold differently for each of you, depending on your own personal astrology, just as well as that and the circumstances of your life journey thus far. So this will be impacted based on your own house placements, your planetary placements, sorry if you can hear my chair squeaking, and your interplanetary aspects. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking for an Astrocast reading for yourself based on your own personal astrology, please DM me and I will be happy to make a custom reading for you. So yes, 12 houses of the Zodiac covers the 12 areas of their natural rulership. We reach into this lovely, cute little jar and blindly pick out tarot cards. So like, for example, we have these teeny little tarot cards. Look at this little teeny Queen of Swords. The teeny queenie, I love her. So we reach in, cast them out on the board, and wherever they land, this will talk about the energies that we can expect to be experiencing in each of these areas for the week ahead. Now I want to make mention that, some of the messages may apply for you, all of the messages may apply, they may resonate exactly as they're being described. Again, they may unfold slightly differently based on your own personal astrology. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. So I think that's just about everything. Let's get into it. I hope you guys are doing okay. We are coming up on the time I'm filming this. This is right before the next eclipse it's the full moon eclipse in Taurus. So, and we just entered Mercury Retrograde, so this has been a little spicy. I hope you guys are surviving it well. I feel like that's it. Okay, it's not normally that quick, but it was this time. Okay, so, ooh, we got some good stuff here. Wow. All right, I have things to say already. So we have the Four of Pentacles coming out sideways in the 12th house. We have the Eight of Wands coming out reverse. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, the way that I tend to do upright and reversal in this scenario is if the bottom of the card is facing inward, that counts as upright, as we see here. If the top of the card is facing inward, that indicates reverse, as we see here. And if it's right on its side, this means the energy is in flux. So, oh, wow, okay. So here's what we have. We have the Four of Pentacles on its side in the 12th house. We have the King of Cups upright bordering the 10th and 11th house, the Ace of Swords upright mostly in the 7th house, and the Eight of Wands reversed mostly in the 6th house. Now, and the Three of Wands upright in the 8th house. I want to make note that when they're in the middle, for me, this talks about things that are impacting all areas of life. Now, we have these three clustered cards, so I'm going to read them in the houses that they also appear, but also kind of read them as like a singular message for the middle, so bear with me, okay? We also have, with the King of Cups here, we have masculine water energy represented. That could be a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This could be you, this could be another person, or just talking about the energy that's being embodied. So I kind of wanted to make note of that. Sorry, I'm cleaning a speck off my glasses really quick. It's not working. I'm so good at getting some. Oh my gosh, you know what it is? It's watermelon juice, you guys. I had delicious, just juicy, delectable watermelon for breakfast, and it just like got everywhere. It was a delightful mess. Okay, I fixed it. Thank you for being patient. Excuse me. So I'm just looking at what we have here. I feel like this week ahead is going to be very much impacted by the eclipse. And the reason why is because this is with a full moon eclipse. This is a time for, and granted, eclipse energy plays out over the next 6 months, so keep that in mind. This is a time where we're going to be doing a lot of release, especially with it being in the sign of Taurus. This can have to do with your physical senses. This can have to do with, you know, business, with art, beauty, creativity. But the biggest thing I always get is that this can talk about releasing anything we're holding on to in terms of our sense of security, right? And so Taurus usually rules the second house, and this is the house of career, of our finances, our material well-being. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the desk. Of our material well-being. But this is also the house of the things that we value, right? This is also, you know, this is how we ascribe value to things, including how we internalize our own value, as well as how we find security. So I feel like for many of you, there are going to be themes that have to, what they're showing me is like somebody using like a crowbar and starting to like pry the like two boards apart. This is where I feel like, oh, that's such a pretty bird. Sorry, there's a bird right outside my window. You guys, as soon as I started talking about it, the bird turned around on its branch and like made direct dead ass eye contact with me. Okay, we just shared a moment. Oh, it's looking at me again. Okay, I'm gonna go back to what I'm doing. Like do that thing where you get caught staring at somebody in public and then you look away really quick. That's what I'm doing right now, but it's a bird. Okay. But yeah, they're showing me like two boards being pried apart. So I feel like this week things are kind of starting to come a little bit loose. Now with the 8 of Wands reversed and the 3 of Wands upright, I don't feel like things are necessarily moving this week. But I kind of feel like you're starting to get more stable and more grounded in your truth. And I feel like that's why we have, sorry if you can hear my bones cracking, that's why we have the 4 of Pentacles sideways in the 12th house. The 4 of Pentacles is usually about having really good, firm foundations, but it's also about being closed off, holding on to things, right? And it's where you have stability, but you don't have growth. So this is something where, again, you've been holding on to this. Maybe it's an idea, a person, a behavioral pattern, like a literal tangible thing. You've been holding on to it for a really, really long time because it provided a sense of stability, but it's gotten to the point where it no longer allows you to grow and no longer allows things to move toward you. I feel like you've outgrown whatever it is. And with the I almost said with the 4th house, so this might have to do with home and family, but with the 4 of Pentacles in the 12th house, this is something where this week that is starting to shift for you, right? The 12th house is about illusions, and it's about, you know, it's like wrap-ups, right? It's where we're starting to see things clearly in order to wrap up a cycle, close it out, and kind of go through like this little mini rebirth back into the 1st house, right? So I feel like this week there's kind of there's a clarity that's happening. There's an awareness. Maybe you're making plans. Because I feel like this is kind of, weirdly enough, even though we have all these cards in the middle, this is the energy that's kind of at the crux of the week, and it's going to manifest in different ways for many of you. But this is something where your sense of stability, I feel like, has been being chipped away at in whatever this thing is. I'm going to pull a card for what that thing is. Hang on, I got it. Okay, so it's the 9 of Wands. Yeah, this is something where you've really held tight to it. You've really been persevering. Let's put it right here. You've really been persevering, but you're tired, right? It's the Wounded Warrior card. You're ready to give up, and I feel like for a lot of you, there is this. Excuse me. So because the 4 is on its side, I feel like for some of you this is a situation where you're tired, so you're like ready to throw in the towel, and this week you're kind of like getting a little bit of that. You're getting a new perspective on whatever this is, where you're like, you know what, if I really want this thing, you're like getting more stamina back. And for some of you, it's the opposite, and you've been fighting and fighting and fighting, holding on to whatever this is. So it's kind of this energy of like, it doesn't have to be a relationship, it almost has this runner chaser kind of feel. So for some of you, you know, your natural inclination when you're feeling challenged like this is to run. But there's almost this sense of like, you know what, I don't want to do that. I want to work on it. I want to stick it out. Excuse me. I want to commit to this path. I want to stay in the game no matter what it takes, because the prize at the end is worth it to me, and I deserve to have a shot at winning the prize, essentially. And for some of you, it's the opposite, where it's like, you know, your normal pattern of behavior is to stick it out no matter what, even if it's not helping you grow, even if it's not really an actual secure foundation for you. You stay in there no matter what it takes, no matter how many times you get knocked down and you get hit, you keep getting back up, even if it's not producing anything for you. And if that's more your situation, this is where you're really going to be evaluating, like, is that how I want to do things? So that's the big question I feel like is at the center of this week, is essentially whatever your pattern is, it's saying, do I want to keep going like that? Do I want to keep doing what I've always been doing? Because I will be running the risk of getting what I always get, essentially. And this I feel like is connected to this Three of Wands in the 8th house. Now, I've mentioned in prior readings, I rotate the board every week, so that way even if I have like a natural casting pattern or like trajectory, it has the opportunity to end up in different places. I shit you not, without fail, almost every single week in the last 2 months, something has popped up in the 8th house or on the border of the 8th and 9th house. And this is probably likely due to this eclipse energy, because the 8th house is traditionally ruled by Scorpio. So we had the new moon eclipse in, I said it wrong before. I meant full moon eclipse in Scorpio coming up. I'm sorry. We had the new moon in Taurus and the full moon eclipse in Scorpio. This retrograde, you guys, I'm already struggling, man. So I do feel like this is something where leading up to this, there's been a lot of shifts and a lot of changes. There's been a lot of transformation. And so what I kind of feel like over the next week is that in terms of the transformations you've been undergoing, right, because the 8th house is that intensity, that death and rebirth, that ego death, where you're really stripping away what has been holding you back, and really getting like down to the brass tacks of your soul, so to speak. I feel like that is starting to finally pay off, because the Three of Wands is, your ships are coming in. So you might be finally starting to make concrete plans that are suiting this new version of you. You might be really seeing how all of these pieces are coming together, how everything you've been through is serving you. You might be, this might kind of more literally be your ships are coming in, things are starting to happen for you, and you have this choice of, do I want to handle this the way I've always handled it, or do I want to do something different? So for a lot of you, you're starting to see the fruits of your labor. And I feel like for many of you, even though there's not really cards about decision making here, except for like maybe the Ace of Swords, for a lot of you, I feel like you are being called to make decisions. Even if you're not acting on them this week, you're making your plans. And maybe that's the decision-making energy here. You are calling the shots. You are in more of a leadership position in your own life. So we have this little cluster here in the middle. Again, I'm going to read them separate and then read them all as one collective energy. Sorry. Just because if it's in the middle, I usually read that as like it can apply to any and all areas of life. So we have the King of Cups bordering the 10th and 11th house. Like I said, masculine water energy here. This also could be you. The 10th house is our legacy in a huge way. It's a career house. And the 11th house is, it's our wishes come true, but it's also our circle of friends. And to me, your 11th house is really your spiritual community, as opposed to like the 3rd house, which can deal with like your immediate surroundings community of like your neighborhood, your schools, your coworkers, things like that. Your 11th house is your soul tribe to me personally. It can also talk about things that you're doing online. So for some of you with these two, you have a presence online that's related to your work. And I feel as if there is, so for some of you, that's what's going on here. For some of you, you work with your friends, or you are thinking about working with your friends, and that's kind of what's coming up here. It's really interesting because in the story of the Wheel of the Zodiac, we go from houses 1 through 10, and 10 is kind of a culmination point, right? It's everything we've built for ourselves. It's how we're known to the public. It's essentially saying, I've made all of this, and I've put this out here, and this is what I'm known for, this is what I've done. And it's this moment of like this pinnacle of satisfaction. But there's also a slight kind of like almost falling action, right? So to speak, of the 10th house, where it's like, well, I built all this and now what? And so the kind of almost, I don't want to say shadow energy, but the sort of like downhill energy of the 10th house is really saying, what do I do now? How do I expand past what I've done all this for myself and on my own. How do I expand past that? When we've gone as far as we can go by ourselves, this is where, as we start to expand, we start to grow, we start to go after a new dream, a new wish. we have people who come in to help us with that with the 11th house, right? This is why, to me, it's the people you do your spiritual work with, or who help you grow, evolve, and serve at the soul, as opposed to like in a more grounded 3D way. So when I see something that's bordering these two, it's like you've finished up the cycle, you've created some type of like little kingdom for yourself, this little, you know, your area of rulership for yourself, and you're either sharing that with people in the 11th house who really support your mission, excuse me, or you're expanding, or it's like you've built this for yourself and Soul Tribe is coming in to share it with you. It's like you build if you build it, they will come. You build the kingdom and it attracts in the people who you're going to share your legacy with. And because we have the King of Cups here bordering this, I kind of feel like it's in that realm a little bit more. You really built something for yourself with the 10th house. And this doesn't have to be, you know, your career, your public reputation in the more stereotypical sense. But this is kind of like what you want to be known for. Sorry if you can hear my chair moving. What you want to be known for, what you want to, you know, what you want to be able to put your name on in this lifetime. And I feel like you've really achieved some major goal, particularly in your emotional evolution, right? So you really reached this pinnacle of emotional maturity. You really, you're carrying yourself in a different way. You may have recently, excuse me, achieved a major like healing milestone. For some of you, you're in a career that involves like mental health and like emotional wellness regulation, whether that's counseling, coaching, you know, I'm getting for some people marriage therapists. I know it's part of counseling, but I was like getting that specifically. Some of you are thinking about becoming parents or doing something related to parenting, like conscious or holistic parenting, like gentle parenting. Some of you are closing the chapter, like closing a book on a major emotional, like overarching story in your life, right? So you may have just like cut ties with somebody who you've had a really long history with. You may have recently kind of healed and let go of something from your past that's just like been a huge, like it's a very prominent color in the tapestry of your life thus far, kind of an energy. And whatever it is that you've emerged from, you have emerged fully grown, you have emerged fully matured, right? You are emotionally in command of yourself. He always sits on his throne, which is on this like stone slab in the middle of this like crazy tossing and turning ocean, but he is calm. You are calm, right? You're able to weather any storm. And as a result, I feel like this does put you in this leadership role. So this may also be that people in your soul tribe, people in your friend group, people in your online communities are starting to look to you more and more. And I feel like many of you can feel this coming intuitively if you're not already seeing it manifest in your external lives. Like I said, you might be considering a career path like this, and this is like your sign to do so, to like pursue that. But a lot of you are reaching this point of evolution and you're getting ready to lead and you're getting ready to share what you have learned. You're in a position where you can lead a group of people and you can do so with confidence, but also with love and gentility, and like very like with a level of sovereignty, but of egalitarianism. There we go. I was like, what is that word? Mercury Retrograde, you guys, help. You're able to kind of really lead from that perspective. So a lot of you are coming into this and you might be kind of realizing that this week. You might be getting an offer. You might be hearing from people all of a sudden like, wow, you know, thank you for your advice. Like, you should really consider doing this for a job, right? You might find that, like, I just feel like you're going to see how all of your experiences have really contributed to like your pool of wisdom, and being able to see it all together and put all the pieces together and see how it all interconnects. I feel like this is going to inspire you to want to take the next step, whatever that might be for you. And for some of you, these two are connected because we have the Ace of Swords upright in the 7th house. This is the house of partnerships. This is clarity. This is understanding. This is truth, breakthrough, victory. This is also cutting away what is no longer serving you, what has been painful for you in the past. This is learning, you know, learning and absorbing lessons from painful situations you've been through, right? Because we have the ace through the 10 of swords. So the ace always then follows the 10. And the 10 of swords is like bitter, utter betrayal, backstabbing, like, you know, painful endings. You have learned and gained the full wisdom of your experiences. And so with the ace of swords in the 7th house, you are applying this to partnerships in your life, whether that's romantic, business partnerships, creative collaborations. There's something where I feel there's an epiphany and there might be an important conversation. You've made a decision though, either way, in terms of this partnership. Now, maybe you're waiting on the other person. They are making a decision, but a decision has been made. The energy has been set. And this week, I do feel like there's going to be clarity for sure. And most likely for many of you, a conversation about what needs to happen next. And I do feel like this is positive, even if it's not exactly the response you want. I do feel like it's going to be peaceful. It's going to clear the air. It's going to make room for something very authentic to come forth, right? So if you've been waiting to see where you stand with somebody, you may or may not get the answer you want, but you will get an answer that brings peace. Actually, I want to pull for this Ace of Swords because I'm curious. Is it this one? Yeah. Yeah, okay, perfect. So to clarify the Ace of Swords, we have Temperance, Sagittarius energy here. Yes, there is healing. I feel for many of you, this is very positive. This might be between a water and a fire sign, or between two people with those energies. One person who's very soft, very emotional, very emotionally intelligent. Another person who's very excited, creative, enthusiastic, who's always on the go. It feels like you guys have learned to work with each other. And again, there's this level of like emotional self-mastery that is now allowing for this harmonious union to occur. Any problems that have been coming up between the two of you are getting healed and getting solved. And I do feel like there was an element of divine timing there, but it's a very positive outcome. So for many of you, this is like a relationship healing and moving forward. Again, if there's a creative collaboration here, it's like you're finally on the same page. That's definitely the main theme here, is whatever kind of relationship this is, you're finally on the same page. And again, there's this element of transformation that's allowing you to now make your plans, allowing your ships to come in, because there had to be this like shifting and changing. Now we do have this 8 of Wands reversed in the 6th house. Again, this feels like, you know, anything career related. It feels like there are changes in your daily life that need to occur. There might be a shift in your career that needs to happen. And there is clarity around that this week. But because we have these two energies here, I feel like it's not time to move forward yet. But there's greater understanding about the steps that need to be taken. You might be waiting for, God, I was going to say, I'm trying to say waiting for news, but I kept saying waiting for energy. In order to move forward in something related to your career. So there's something where you might be trying to take the next step, and it's just like you don't have the time or energy, or you're waiting for the go ahead, and you're, you know, just kind of in this like waiting energy. But the biggest thing I'm getting, because I kept saying waiting for energy, is that this is a week, especially when it comes to your routines, your daily life, your career. There's something where the 6th house is your mind, body, spirit connection. So there's something where one of those kind of areas might be out of balance, right? So like, let's say you're spending a lot of time on work and you're not having enough time to find mental peace and find rest, or, you know, you're working on, you know, you're really processing a lot of emotions, and as a result, you know, you're paying less attention to your physical body. Something needs to balance back out here, because one of the areas of your life is taking more energy and time and labor than the others. And I feel like it's getting to the point where it's kind of like a tipping point. So it needs to be rebalanced so you can have the energy to move forward. Now these 3 in the middle, because again, the middle can kind of extend to any area of life. The major lesson here is that you have achieved this level of, again, emotional stability, emotional mastery, and this is making a lot of things very clear for you. I don't feel like it will be a time to move forward this week. You might be, again, waiting on news or communication in order to move forward, but this is not a week to go charging ahead, right? This is a week where to kind of look at everything and really reflect on how far you've come, and reflect on where you are and see if it reflects, I said the word reflect way too many times. Just kind of meditate on where you are and see if it reflects the values that you currently hold, as well as those that you are trying to move toward. So where you are now and where you would like to be, and seeing what in your life currently fits into those two categories and what doesn't. And I do feel like there's going to be this clarity about what needs to go and what can stay and what needs to come in order to get you closer to your goals. So big energy coming up for the week ahead. All the eclipses and the retrogrades are, you know, they're quite something. I do want to say briefly too, with these energies, and because we're in retrograde, you might have somebody from the past, water sign energy here, Sagittarius energy here, but you might have somebody here from the past where you've been in separation for a minute now, and they might be reaching out to talk to you, and this is because they very much want to heal what happened. There may have been a bitter ending because the presence of the Ace of Swords implies there was the Ten of Swords. There may have been a bitter ending. You may have, like I said, been no contact for a while, but this person might reach out to you, or if you're feeling called to reach out to them, this is a sign to do so, because I do feel like this person is part of your soul community, in your soul tribe, but there is something that it just fell apart, and there is one or both of you have the desire, I feel both of you, but one maybe a little more tangibly than the other, has the desire to solve and fix this situation, to heal this situation in order to find peace. Oh, there's a blue jay that landed right out my window. Okay, so a blue jay might be a sign with this person. Look up the blue jay symbolism and the meaning if you feel so called to do so. But yeah, so I do feel like this person might be coming around this week or within the next week and a half, in order to have a conversation with you, to clear the air and to kind of lay the energy to rest peacefully. So that is everything we have for the week ahead. I hope this has been helpful. I'm wishing you the best of luck over this eclipse and retrograde season. I'm just in general wishing you the best, brightest, most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye.